It's a Tuesday. It's May 14th, 2024. Your Day Weather Podcast is being brought to you by Wyoming State Parks. May is here, and now is the perfect time to start making those plans for summer adventures. What better place to spend time outdoors than a Wyoming State Park or historic site? Visit wyoparks.org for more information. Well, spring weather continues. We're looking at what I'd call just textbook mid-May weather. Some warm days, some days that are going to be a little bit cooler, a little bit of shower and thunderstorm activity is going to be passing on through as we're going to be under a wind pattern aloft coming in from the west-northwest. When this happens this time of year, this will bring in a front or two about every day or two, maybe about every 2 days. The front will trigger some scattered showers and thunderstorms, and this will cause temperatures to some days be mild, some days to be a little bit cooler. So you kind of have this up and down. But we don't see a pipeline of really cold air coming in from the due north. We also don't see a situation to where we have a lot of heat coming up out of the deserts. So what this means, you're going to end up at the end of the day, if you add up all the numbers, very close to seasonal conditions. And when I say seasonal, it means if you look at the 30-year average of temperatures, if you average everything up, that's about where we're going to be over the next week. So typical spring conditions, no extremes. Now we need more rain in some areas, and I'm hoping that this off and on shower and thunderstorm pattern will help you in those areas. Temperatures and conditions are going to be like this for the next 7 to 10 days. Also, we'll give you an update on where we are in the Pacific. Are we completely done with El Nino? Has La Nina started yet? We'll take a look at that. Some great shots coming in. Yes, we're still sending you and looking at photos of snow. Now, this happened over the weekend. I know we were talking all about the Aurora Borealis, but under the radar, parts of south central and southwest Colorado over the weekend with that small little low ended up getting well over a foot of snow in some areas of Lake County and Leadville, Colorado areas. And so another deep blanket of wet, heavy spring, water-laden, great snow to have late season up into the high country to help keep those rivers flowing and help get those basins and valleys and reservoirs some water. So always good to see some late season moisture like that. Now we're segueing from looking at areas of Aurora Borealis. Now we're looking at the clouds that we're starting to see, and the clouds will really tell you a lot. And the clouds over the last couple of days, especially yesterday, as we can see, showing you this pattern of instability, shower and thunderstorm development popping up as the atmosphere gets a little bit warmer, more moist this time of year, and we start to get the buildup of clouds like this and shower and thunderstorm activity. So if you're a cloud watcher, you'll have plenty to look at here over the course of the next several days. Just a lot of really good shots of clouds. Thanks for sending those in. And then up across the Bighorn Basin, thunderstorms and showers developing. There's really a typical situation that you're going to see as we get out of the pattern of that more tumultuous mid-spring to late spring, and hopefully here in 2 or 3 weeks getting into an early summer pattern. The satellite imagery this morning shows this northwest pattern. This system is tracking a little bit to the east, but will take a little bit more of a track like this over the next couple of days. This is not much of a wave, but this time of year, this will trigger some scattered areas of showers and thunderstorms as it translates east to southeast. But in between, skies will be partly cloudy and temperatures will be seasonably mild. So you can see where it's going to be at noon today. There we look up north, there's a couple of more, and we've got this high that's in the eastern Pacific that's just going to kind of sit there for the next few days. And this placement of the high means these Pacific waves will want to come this way until we see a significant change in that placement of the high. So these little waves will just keep coming on through, bringing the occasional chance of May showers and thunderstorms. This is the precipitation forecast through Thursday morning. Nothing extraordinary here, but you can see that along the divide, both sides of the divide, you're going to get the development of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening hours, continuing at night and into the early morning hours in some areas. A little bit more widespread in the plains. Really not a lot in the Great Basin and the West Coast because of that big high there. So these systems are just going to kind of go along this path. So you're going to see this is where the showers and thunderstorms are going to want to form. This is by Friday. So by Friday, Wednesday's system and today's system is right there. The next little wave, that's going to want to come in over the weekend. You can still see the high over the Eastern Pacific. And this is Sunday. So Sunday, we see another system coming on in. We've got this upper level low off the coast of California. You see the high, it's still there. So the pattern isn't really going to change much. What it means is about every other day or so, you're going to see one of these waves come through. They're not going to turn into big storms. They're going to be just enough to keep the weather pattern active and keep the general flow of air coming into here more central North Pacific than deserts. So we're not going to tap into that desert air. If we do, we'll have little pushes of these, let's say, desert air influence coming on in. Those will be the warmer days, but these little waves will come on in and keep our temperatures more at an even keel. This is by next Wednesday. So you can see the basic pattern is the same. A lot of weather forecasting is pattern recognition. So you're not going to be changing the forecast much or expecting any deviation from where we are now, unless we see this Eastern Pacific ridge decide to change its configuration. And one thing that we should see in the coming weeks is the main jet stream wanting to start to be a little more north, migrate a little bit more north, allowing that warmer air in the lower latitudes to go north. But we're not there yet. What I'm basically hinting at is once we start to see that, then we can start talking about kicking into an early summer pattern late May and early June. But until then, this configuration will basically give us the same weather. This means ups and downs. So after a warm day today, we cool off in many areas underneath that trough for the course of the day Wednesday. But by Friday, we warm up again. And by Saturday, we start to see the colder air encroaching from that northwest flow. Going to be pretty warm ahead of it. Then by Sunday, that colder air moves south and we cool off again. So at the next 5 to 7 to 10 days, this back and forth will mean average conditions. And this is the next batch of precipitation that will be forming basically Saturday through Monday morning as that next wave comes on through. Want a quick update here on the sea surface temperature anomalies across the globe and where we are with La Nina and El Nino. There, this little sliver of green and blue here are the cooler waters forming along the equator, basically the burgeoning La Nina. El Nino's done. We still have warmer than average sea surface temperature anomalies here over a fair amount of the equator area, but it's cooling off, and you can see that right here. This patch of sea surface temperature anomalies up here in the North Pacific, we're going to talk about that here in a little bit, but we're seeing this La Nina pattern as expected beginning to develop. But the overall ocean basins are still above average in terms of sea surface temperature anomalies. But where the water temperatures are the warmest across the globe, which is right here, you're going to notice that in a minute, we're seeing those sea surface temperature anomalies drop. So this is a good indication of where we are. This 0 would put us basically neutral, where you're not La Nina, you're not El Nino. But look at the trend. Trend is your friend. So the trend is downward. And basically, since we bypassed that 0.5 anomaly, we're not in El Nino. We're in a neutral phase right now. And we'll see where we go forward. But as we take a look at the change over the last 7 days, I talked about the warmest parts of the oceans cooling off. And you can see that we are definitely here in the Pacific, but even in the Atlantic, there's been a bit of a drop in sea surface temperature anomalies. And this is the overall general trend that is being forecasted by the modeling further down the road. And let's take a look at this. This is a forecast of sea surface temperature anomalies by August. So La Nina will be in place by then. Will probably be officially La Nina. You can see the sea surface temperature anomaly here. The Indian Ocean basin is dropping. It's dropping here as well. And what we're going to be watching closely at the end of summer and as we get into early fall is the combination of this with the combination of this. The warmer than average sea surface temperature anomalies in the North Pacific combined with the colder sea surface temperature anomalies along the equator, this is what we would call, we go into what we call a positive Pacific decadal oscillation. But what is something that we're just teasing you right now, and we'll talk about this as the summer evolves, this configuration, when it's warmer up here and colder here, now this seems counterintuitive. keep in mind, these aren't water temperatures that you would jump in the water and feel real warm. Remember, this is an anomaly. This is not the measurement of the temperatures. Sometimes these colors exaggerate things. But what this tends to do is this is a cold signal for North America if this holds through the winter. So we'll have to see if that ends up developing for the winter 2024-2025. Have yourself a good Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.